pretty beautiful. I like it.
I'm glad. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that could be at least there's only a few times where it's at the it's only like the animation starts. You do it latency gap. Something's
Who's telling you these lies?
So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like trying stuff. If I stare at him for 2 hours, I can get to him and die. Because debugging really hard.
Yeah, because if the thing is that if you got figured out, the basic logic is.
I
was in military balls.
Yeah. And
well, working here, you know better. That's not or anything.
it was our competitors.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, wow.
And obviously,
Was it Dave's money or one of those military things?
I don't know, like, it was a lot, it was everyone, and
some more like
Yeah, probably Dave's money.
it was YMCA, who did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no. It loads up in the bit. It's like an on-art.
When I walked over, we were looking through
The further you put it in, the it's crazy. Because like if you get on top of the mountain, you can literally be so busy, so cool like
I was looking for my pool.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, I was actually reading so reading an article and they were trying to push the hard
There's a lot of nice things. Yeah, it's very spot. Oh, yeah, we'll go by the regular orders. And so I say, nice neighborhood. My bad. And wow. Yeah. Well, and I have some changes. But I want to talk to you guys. Yeah, absolutely. We need to talk it down. Yeah. I'm not focused.
literally.
Now this is the complete NBC, right? That's the complete version of NBC.
I never stayed.
Structure's all that.
Start on weekday.
That's where.
I actually was still, but I just get started. The first day I started,
I was doing something else for a second.
Because the other ones don't fully have it like components. It's really unusual.
I know that is like the whole personality. But at work, I usually
It's actually really thankfully. So we got it, go ahead and just do npm install and just execute it.
yeah,
So you guys do also.
I loaded it. Yeah, that was
Be real sad if David and me are not.
That's what it looks like. Hopefully they are running late because there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah, there was a lot of traffic tonight.
Yeah, like a couple of accidents. Yeah.
Who?
Who? Oh, she's homesick.
And then I thought. Oh, that's probably good. Oh, okay.
So you guys have enough information to continue or not? Oh, no.
We have no game plan yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Good evening. Let's get started for today's class.
Okay.
Oh, is this somebody left it on Saturday? Still here. Nope.
Let's just skip project 2 and then just do more lessons.
Just skip project 2 and do more lessons.
Yeah. We can learn more.
Can learn more. Okay.
Make
Well,
our projects better.
huh?
Make our projects better.
To make your projects better. Okay. Now, hopefully, we make this project better than the first one. Hopefully, we have the skills. All right. So let's see what we are going to do today. Actually, I don't have a whole lot for today. I want to give you guys time for your project planning. Make sure everybody is on target for that. So if you see, I only have like a couple of activities, and these are also from the previous project. So we'll go over them, and I'll try to go over them pretty quickly so that you guys get time back for your projects. Okay. Before we begin, George was sharing earlier that you guys have an assignment due on Saturday. Apparently, it's optional. If you guys didn't see it on, well, this tells me you guys didn't even open the homework assignment. That's due on Saturday. It says right on the first page when I opened that assignment. So this tells me.
I was doing it from that page for about 5 hours until I went all the way to the top, and I was like, wait a second.
Oh, really? Wow, great. So, good job, guys. For those of you who didn't even bother opening the assignment, it's on the. Yeah, it's on the first line. It's on the first line. All right.
Oh my gosh. That helps.
I also didn't know.
The one part I got stuck on is the big file for
Oh.
the chart.
Well.
The number one, it was JSON.
Okay.
But in the other one, it's a JavaScript file. That you stick overwrite with.
Okay.
This one's a JSON. So it's like, how do you?
Oh, .json file? It should.
Yeah, so SQLizer uses the JSON as the container.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas our Hammer one uses
Use a JavaScript file.
overwrite the JavaScript, not the JSON.
Huh.
So it's like, oh, great. So it's
Okay. I would think JSON would be easier, but I don't know.
where's the config? Like, I could overwrite that, so I didn't have to Google that part. I didn't
Okay.
get that part.
Huh.
That was fun.
Well, so that was my duty to tell you guys that was apparently it's optional, but all right. Yeah, might as well submit it now, right? Okay. All right. So today would be a couple of exercises, and you guys will have time for your project. Before we begin, it's kind of funny. I got all the project ideas and the team names. Usually when you give kids an option to come up with a group name and you give them a Harry Potter theme, usually the names are Gryffindor, or maybe they are like Harry Potter, or maybe Dumbledore's Army, or the Phoenix. Or here, look at the names: Death Eaters, Nagini, Grindelwald. Like 3 of the 5 are like all negative. That's good. I just found it funny when I was looking through the list. That's what I saw. Well, 9 3/4 is good, and then Archie, Alderton, that's kind of broom makers, but those are the 2 positive. But more than 50% of the class shows like some negative.
It's a scary tactic.
Yeah. Yeah, so you won't watch the demo or something?
You want to scare others.
Scare other groups?
We're going to sweep the competition, so we could.
Yeah, there's a good logic. Yeah.
I saw the new movie and it was really good.
Oh, it comes out tomorrow, or is it today?
It's a new movie. Early screening it.
Oh.
It's a new movie. I thought Harry Potter was done.
So it's the same
It's a spin-off, yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, part 2 of Fantastic. All right. Yeah, it's optional now. Might as well. All right. So the first activity is, you guys remember from the project one we did a Kanban board. We did some strategies, Scrum, Agile, all those concepts. So this is the same one from the first project. Again, what we'll do in this class, you guys will kind of do it and show some interest and actually go ahead and do it and then forget about it. But most important is, to be honest, I don't think I'm not sure how many teams actually followed this, the project one. Did anybody actually go back do it after the class activity? I'm not sure, but probably not. But again, we'll do this activity, and even if you don't do this in your project or kind of ignore it later on, the good thing about this is that when you guys go and find jobs in the industry, these are very popular, and almost every company I work with, and I've heard that everybody does it. They do it in a different way and use a different tool, but the concept and the kind of the names that you're hearing over here, they are almost the same everywhere. So this is more to give you an idea that when you go out there and you're like, oh, I don't know what this is. So this will give you an idea that what are the terms that industry is using, and what they mean by it, and how they run the project by it. Okay, almost every company runs these projects these days using either Scrum model, Agile methodology. You will hear some kind of a Kanban board. Okay, this for us, because GitHub provides a free one. We will look at the GitHub one again. So this PDF is there. Nick or Will, can you select this PDF out? Yeah. So go ahead and look at the PDF. I won't go through it in detail. We did this in the project one. It's the same one. Go into your, look at the PDF that they're slacking. It just says go into GitHub where you guys created your project 2, and then create a Kanban board. And then what you have to do is you have to create a Kanban board, select the third option, and then add a column called Icebox. Does anybody remember what we discussed? I gave you a different name for Icebox in the previous one. So I called it backlog. You will hear different names. I've never heard, to be honest, Icebox. We usually call it backlog. So what this column has is, let's see, before we begin. So when you guys create, there will be columns already created. They would be called to do, in progress, done. All right. To do means something that you need to do. All right. In progress, some of the tasks that you're working on, and done is something that you have completed. And the fourth is called Icebox, or as I've known, it's called backlog. So this exercise says go ahead and create this backlog or Icebox. So this column contains all the tasks that are good to have, that you want to do at some point. Okay, these are the tasks that are not in to do. They're kind of in a low priority. The to do column has the tasks that are higher priority that you need to absolutely complete before looking at some other tasks. Okay, so you're going to prioritize your tasks and put some in your backlog that are kind of nice to haves. But right now, that's not the right time. Like, there are some more pressing tasks that need to be completed before you can pull something out of it. Okay, so your to-do column will have the higher priority ones, and these are the ones that all have to be gone from here before you can pull anything from your backlog. All right, so go ahead and do this. Create the project. Create these 3 columns should already be there. To do, in progress, and then done. Okay, so create a task in to do, and it says you have to add cards. So each card would be like a task. Create those tasks, and If there are some of the tasks that are in progress, please move those in progress. If there's something that is done, for example, create a starter project. That's kind of done if everybody is following the same boilerplate code. So you can say, oh, this is done. Create a starter task or create a GitHub project assigned to everybody. Create a master branch. Put some restrictions on it. So those are kind of tasks that are done. I would hope by now all the teams have completed those. Some of the tasks which go in backlog would be think of your product or your what you have. If it's a web page and you have basic, let's suppose you are designing Twitter and you already have like a text box with 140 characters and a button, and that's your product that you need to first release. Some of the nicer would be the color scheme, adding some advertisement or some of those things. Okay, then fan following, and all those kind of stuff. They kind of be in a backlog because first you need this to go out so that people can start using. Then you have these nice things that you want. So this is kind of like the version 2.0. Okay, so go ahead and create this in GitHub. Create the columns. Add a column called Icebox or Backlog, whichever name you like. Again, I've always heard backlog. I've never heard the term icebox being used. And then assign some of those. Once you have those cards, go ahead and see if you can figure out how to assign those to your team members. Assign those tasks, and then we'll come back and do the next activity. All right? And some of the groups that submitted their ideas, I really like the user stories that they submitted in the format. That's kind of really nice. Follow that in your cards also. Let me see if I can, like the persona, like this person wants to do something and would like to do something, and this is how they will achieve it. So I really like those user stories. So those can kind of, if you break it down into more tasks, you can put it in your to-dos. For example, somebody has to create a database connection so that the team can save the data. Now you can change those words according to your project, what makes more sense. All right, so that could be one of the tasks, and so on and so forth. All right, so go ahead, create that Kanban board in your GitHub project. Create a column, add some tasks, add those cards, and then go ahead and assign it to different team members. All right. And you guys should have this PDF on Slack. Should have all the instructions. It's also 06 exercise in your GitLab project. Yep.
Yeah, I got that. Well, the problem I had was you have to get that upstream level, so you use the directory to bring, I had to set that up. Like, our Yeah, almost make this super. Yeah, I created the brand. It's the biggest
Like in the last one.
Yeah.
So
there's no what's going on is
we might actually I feel like that's
fine. I'll read it.
you have to meet the brother and push that shit. Work on that. So, don't get me wrong, I don't mind it back because I like to practice.
You don't have to show cards that you like select which role you want. What if you had a QR code on the table?
So you don't have to
Scan on your phone. It pops up on your phone the app for the restaurant. And then you can select
So,
which one you want.
I don't know how we would do QR code for it, but basically,
So I want to hear it.
I don't know. Okay. So it's like, basically,
QR code.
okay. George.
But you see the idea, like really talk more about it, like what all it's going to be like. It's doable. And when you figure out like when you like this bugs or backlog thing, whether you can add it expires in 20 minutes, you have the count on 10. So like we don't want to know. What's your average time of day? So maybe the primary URL is the table, QR code based, and then you have secondary URLs like So yeah, his idea was save so if customers have their own devices, and like you know, most people and then you put your phone on your phone, you put that automatically, and you can select controls from there. And then they just take that and then they can actually like put a checkbox.
Our boss, we fired and our boss is a position the manager will go back. But it's very difficult.
Like analytics.
Yeah.
But then, like the person who's making the rules, be like, great, take 10 of these rules or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
On their time on terms.
I don't put it in realize that. I'll put it in, this is probably a backlog. If sushi chefs automatically allocated the next order to the one with the least amount on their list. Does that make sense?
right. Even if they have leads, I think that may be more
I don't know.
and I know we're pushing up maybe.
So which one?
I was gonna say maybe a way that I'll take that.
or
I told you.
drag your little.
Yeah, right. So in other words, that's whereas when you make the big page, all the different choices, that would be more options. Visually, it'd be easier to organize it. Like where exactly the person is the west end.
So I'm just wondering, like, I guess I see the server, I see the functionality of the server, just store the original. But I
Get would be on the side of the admin side and the sushi chef side where they're getting the information that the
And I'm wondering, what are new libraries? And then,
what's the technology for the QR codes?
I don't think it's.
I mean, that's new technology as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yes.
Well, we could still use that package I was talking about, the validator.
But I was thinking about the fact that so starting out we have to have
I agree.
Yeah.
If we change it.
Actually, he said that if we feel like we need to take down
9 databases, but 9 it's
Yeah, I'm thinking more like we'll build, not like a sushi bar, it's not those like, sushi bar, but a piece of paper, some idea. We're thinking like, seeing more for, pushes to that inside the chef's area. Pushing you on, it's on the basic, to that. And then inventory, yeah, that way. I think you get all the requirements.
Yeah, it's always good.
It's really good. It's a type thing. Because we did.
that's
The restaurant reservation fee. Well, we don't want to go like we're done with, we would hate that. It's not usable, it's not real. So.
As long as you know the team regulations.
I was thinking it's actually going to be pretty intense too.
But I do want to get on the phone call with you and then
Is she following up?
My mom is just
we have one of my other calls create the tax.
the only thing that is okay.
We'll have it split up as well. What do you do?
Did you guys create this board and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start on the next one and then 15-20 minutes more. I have these to show you guys and then you guys can spread. Alright guys, so any questions on that? Everybody kind of familiar how to create it? Alright, so I'll give you more time to go ahead and create those. We'll go through some of the activities that I want to share before you guys can go back to your project. So there are 3 more what we call ceremonies. These are called Agile ceremonies or Scrum ceremonies. So I'm going to share what those are and we'll do a quick follow-up on all those 3 and then you guys can break for the project. Okay. Alright, the first one, and all of these 3 are very important. And again, once you go out in the industry, you will see these are kind of very religiously followed. Almost any company that is using a Kanban board and those methodology follow all these 3. There are quite a few more, but at this point, we look at the more important ones. Okay, well, okay, I take the bet, not the most important ones, the most common ones. The other ones are also as important as these are. Okay, all right, so the first is called the stand-up, and if you guys remember from the first project. So in this ceremony, what happens is the team, it's not like a status that you're giving to your manager or a project manager. It's nothing of that kind. Everybody who's involved in that project is present in the standard when everybody has to answer 3 questions. The first is, what did I do yesterday? Okay. What am I going to do today? And then if I have any blockers, impediments, people go with different names. All right. So the purpose of this is now you have your Kanban board. You have tasks assigned to you. You speak about those tasks. You say, okay, yesterday I worked on this and I was able to successfully do this. Today I'm going to work on this task, continue working on it, or make those changes. Something is blocking. Okay, maybe I can't figure out the API. Maybe the database connection is not working. Again, the point of these blockers or impediments talking about this is so that if somebody on the team has an idea, can jump in and help somebody else. Okay. Usually what happens is nobody says no impediments. Then comes the last day of what we call sprint, or you can say the project day. People are like, yeah, it's not working. I'm like, well, that's what the stand-up is for. I will tell you, all I hear is when people are actually in the work, they're saying, oh, no blockers, no impediments, no blocker, no impediments, right? When it comes to the last day, they're like, well, it's not working. Well, why didn't you say that this is a blocker, right? People don't kind of get it. But it's nothing to undermine anybody. It's just so that the team is aware and somebody can help you out. Yes, Eric.
Do you think that's human nature? Like people
I think
don't
so.
say there's
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. I think people don't realize what it actually means. I was also like that, I'm saying, well, if I say I have this, people would be like, well, he doesn't know or something. But that's not how it is. As I matured and as I understood the process more, it's just you're sharing that, okay, yeah, I can't do it. But the thing is, if you think you can, what I do is I say, hey, this is a blocker and I'm not able to figure it out, but I think I'm close. Give me like a day more. Today I'm going to work on it. If not, then I'm going to ask for help. But I don't need help right now. But this is kind of blocker. And then everybody is aware and they give you that space and time. They're like, okay, yeah, there's an issue that might block the work I'm doing. But for now, I think I've got it under control. That's what I do. And I say, hey, give me a day more. And the next day, if it's still, I'm like, yes, I think I can do it. Give me a day more. But after 2 days, I'm like, well, I've tried everything. So, now it's a real blocker. I cannot go forward. So somebody can help me, point me in the right direction. Somebody then usually jumps in. So it kind of shows you that you're working towards it. And you're not hiding, kind of not, it's not a surprise at the end of the day. You're like, oh, well, you know what? This was an impediment, but I didn't say anything, but now there's an issue. So that kind of is not good.
Problem at the end of your project.
Right. And it happens a lot. Yeah, it's probably like human nature, and that's what I think so too. But anyway, so let's do this. This is what usually happens out in the industry is this is the ceremony that is done every single day. Usually in the mornings, like 8:30 or 9, when everybody comes in before they're starting up, we do what we call a stand-up, right? And as the name says, stand up, this is literally people stand and do it. And this is supposed to be really short, like 15 minutes at max. I would like to keep it like under like 10 minutes, maybe like 5 or 6 minutes. But usually the time given for these ceremonies is outside is given like 15 minutes at most. And everybody goes around the room, says it, only answers these questions and done. Okay. If there are blockers, you say, hey, I have a blocker. Usually you don't say what the blocker, you say I have a blocker, and then you say and then you talk about the blocker after the meeting. All right, you say this and say I have an impediment that I want to talk about, and the meeting is done. And then the people who are interested or you think are more important, then you tell them, hey, I want to talk to this about you and you, and I think you guys can help me with this impediment. And that's why, and everybody else leaves who is not involved. All right. It's a funny thing. It's called stand up, and people stand and do it. And I was in a team where our stand ups would take like an hour. And somebody asked me, we call them agile coach or like a project manager coach. And I was like talking to one of them. I told them, hey, our team is having this problem. We have like a stand up which is like an hour, and people are talking, get into this argument and solutions. And he asked me the one thing. He said, does your team do stand-up like sitting in a conference room or standing? I said, well, everybody is sitting. He said, next time tell them to stand, and it won't go beyond 15 minutes. And I'm not joking. We did try. People are standing. People are like quick to say, so that they can sit down and relax. So it actually did end up less than 15 minutes. So it actually works. I thought it was a joke, but it actually worked. That's why it's called stand up. You stand, do the meeting, over, and then go on. Okay. So this is the first one. Let's go ahead and do this. So I want you guys to stand up, talk to your team, give these 3, and then sit down. Okay. Let's do that, and then we'll come to the next ceremony also. Right? Please go ahead and stand up. I want it so that you guys stand up, do this meeting, and sit down. What did you do yesterday, today? Any impediments? Yeah. Yeah.
Today, I didn't do it. I mean, we're only on day 1. I mean, day 1 was figuring out what the project was. Yeah, well, we're kind of scheduled to go yesterday. Our biggest no, it would actually go.
That's how I like it. Few minutes and done. That's what I call
We
it.
don't really have anything to go over it.
Yesterday, we all found out we're screwed.
Well, yeah.
Everyone fixed it.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Now everybody knows are on the same page and what's going on. Well, you already were. So I would say it will help if you guys do this daily. Of course, you guys are not meeting physically. We do like a Google Hangout. I've done that on a side project using Google Hangout. 15 minutes.
Yeah, we have Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah, look at the boot camp. Yeah.
So what blocks then?
I mean, I think that new things that are
So you don't want
no supervised. Yeah, it's
So I have a question. I get the idea. How different is that than, say, someone else just putting it into POS?
so, but it's nice.
Yes, so that's a an ongoing eventually the paper would out cost that would thing. I'm just saying, like, would there still be like servers, or would you need servers?
It depends. We want to handle it. What if we were to calculate how many rolls were made that day, and how many chefs made them, and then maybe even the time, or we're going to know which chef is the best. I mean, there's some other things we can add for the admin side. I don't find that they use something else. There's always going to be obviously education help. with like
I think what's most
important, within the limits of our role, if they want a role that they're thinking of, I can just think of like.
All right, looks like everybody is done. Let me go over two more ceremonies and then you guys can go back to your project. All right. Good? Okay. So, again, these stand-ups are meant to be done daily. Again, if you guys want, I would recommend do it over Google Hangout or do it virtually, of course, if you guys are not meeting daily for the project. Or you can do it even days, skip a day and do it. But, you know, it kind of helps to see that where everybody is on the project. Okay? Any questions on this one? This particular ceremony? Any suggestions that you guys seems like will work much better for your team? Good. Okay. The second one is called playback or demo. So in this ceremony, what happens is you work for a certain number of days. Let's suppose you're working on a project out in the industry. What happens is we call them sprints, or like 2 weeks. This is how much work can you get done in 2 weeks. All right. In your to-do column, all the work or the tasks are pulled in from your backlog, which can be done in 2 weeks, and we call it a sprint. All right, that's how the usually that's the time frame. And at the end of the 2 weeks, what happens is you do a ceremony called playback or a demo. What happens is when your tasks are done, you demo it to your team, to your business partners, or whoever is actually paying for that project. Mainly. Right now, it's just your team, so you guys will be demoing it among yourselves. But usually what happens is the business or whoever is paying for your project out there, they want to see a demo at the end of your sprint, which is usually 2 weeks. Okay. What happens in ceremony is you sit together, you show all your tasks. You say, oh, this was the task and this is the output I completed. This was the task, I did this. This was the task, I did this, and here's the demo. Now the demo, what happens is people get confused. Now let's suppose my task was to create a database connection. Okay. And you can demo it. You can actually go and show, hey, here's my workbench. Here's my connection. From Heroku, I can hit it. I can see my database. Done. That's simple. Doesn't have to be complicated UI or anything. Doesn't have to be any of those things. A demo could be as simple as that. Depends on what task you have. If that was your task, then that's what you demo. Your task was to create a GitHub project, assign it to everybody. That's what you demo. You say, hey, look at the project. Here's my GitHub link. These are my branches, and these are all the people that are involved. That's it. Demo done. Okay. But again, this is also one of the necessity meetings. What this does is kind of gives the feeling of whoever is paying for your project or your whole team, kind of gives an idea. Okay, you know, progress has been done. There is something going on, and the other advantage of that is that somebody can call out early and say, hey, this doesn't seem right. This is not what I was asking for. Okay, especially that happens a lot. You show a business with a screen and tell them, hey, this is what we came up, and these are my text boxes here, and this is it. Okay, but the person goes, oh, wait. This is not exactly what I had in mind. I think I just need like 2 boxes on the top, and I'm done. And then you go back, you revise, you take your plan, you revise your plan, and come up with 2 text boxes, and you're done. Okay, that's what the demos and these help. Versus what used to happen in previous was that a business would pay for your project, and you would say, hey, we'll give you this 8 months later or like a year, and they would never hear back from you again. And after a year, you will call them up. Hey, the project is ready. Here you go. And then they look at the project. They're like, what? No, that's not exactly what we were looking for. So you spend millions of dollars, and at the end of the day, at the end of the year, people don't like it. Mm-hmm. So that's what this methodology or a mindset came up, that you work with the person or the people who are paying for it, we call them business. You complete small chunks of work and then you show it to them. Right? Even though you're showing really minute pieces, it's still okay. You show them, you tell them, hey, this is the 2 text boxes, this is what I have, or whatever, the 4. And they're like, okay, it's kind of what I wanted, but not exactly, so I don't want these. So it's like a quick, instead of waiting a year to tell you that, they're telling you in like 2 weeks. Okay, and this actually happens. I'm not like making this up, or it's not in a textbook. It is in a textbook, but it actually happens. I do it every day. A lot of companies follow this. When you go out, you will see it's very aggressive. After 2 weeks, there has to be a demo. Don't care the task was to create a database connection. Don't care the task was to research something. Don't care the task was to just put one button over here. No matter what, you just have to demo it. You just have to show at the end of this, when you say you completed this task, the demo becomes necessary. That's the other case. You say, hey, you know what? I was not able to complete it. No matter, okay, let's move it to the next time. You have 2 more weeks and you continue that. But if you say that this task is done, you have to demo that task. You have to say, you have to show that, okay, this is what yes, I'm just.
So our project 2 is simulating a sprint.
Yeah, so I'll come back to it. Usually I'm saying outside it's 2 weeks, but of course the total time over here is 2 weeks. So you kind of divided what you feel better. Your sprints could be 3 days. In 3 days you complete a task. Now I understand the 3 day looks very, very less, but now compare it to your total project time. What is it like? How many days is the project total like? 15 days, the kind of right amount. Okay, let's say your project duration is 15 days, right? You can do is divide it into 3 sprints of 5 days. But then again, you have to create your task that you can be sure you can accomplish in 5 days. Okay, you don't have to say the whole project I'm going to be done in this, right? You have to come up with realistic goals. Okay, I have a 5 days starts from this day to this day, and then this day to this date and this date. So I'm going to do these tasks here, these tasks here, these tasks here. At the end of this, you're like, okay, I'm going to demo this. I'm going to show my team member this is all the tasks I completed. Okay, but this only works if you have a good backlog to do all those columns filled out, all those tasks filled out. Okay, again, these things do take time because somebody has to go and put in the task. I understand, but it will help you, and this is kind of simulation of what's going out there. Usually what happens is we have some dedicated resource who kind of does this. What the other team members do is they call out, they kind of say, oh, this is the task I want, this is the task I want. And somebody goes and, does the admin stuff, creates a card, adds those stuff, and then so you can do is you can assign one person from your team who does it. And then, take care of their time. Don't assign them some task that needs to be done. Kind of divide it in that fashion. Or your team can do it together. Whatever task you feel like you are doing, just create it and then assign it to yourself and be done. And just demo it later on. They're kind of different options. Okay. All right. Any questions on the playback or demo ceremony? Right. After this, when we complete this, you guys can go ahead and do it, follow it, go ahead and demo before doing any new work if you have. Even if you have an idea that kind of, you're like, okay, we have vetted this idea, this will work much better. That's also kind of demo. Just demo it to your team. Be like, okay, this is my demo of this today. Okay. Again, usually these demo happen at the end of the sprint. Whatever sprint number of days you decide, that would be the end of the sprint. Okay. All right. So the last one is called retro or retrospective. What happens in this meeting is this meeting happens also at the end of the sprint, that you have completed these tasks or not completed. They're moving into the next sprint. So what happens when you are not able to complete these tasks in this sprint? Now, what happens is you just move it on to the next one, and then you kind of take account of that task. Okay, you say, okay, this has now become priority because it has to be completed. We were not able to do it. We completed in the next sprint. Okay, then all the tasks that they were supposed to complete in the next one kind of move forward. Okay, that's what happens. Now in your retro meeting that happens at the end of the sprint, again, all of these are actually followed almost everywhere in the industry. In retrospective, what happens, you answer these questions. So you look back at the previous sprint that you just completed, and then you answer these questions. You say, what went well? Okay, we did this work. What were the things that actually went well? Well, let's suppose we were able to complete all the tasks that we decided on that went well. We were able to maybe go beyond and pull something from our backlog. We were able to complete that also. Let's see, we were able to successfully demo or whatever the research that we were looking for. We were able to get all the answers. That kind of went well. The team kind of came together. We had some issue, but everybody jumped in and helped everybody out, and we were able to successfully complete our sprint. That also went well. Then the second question would be, what didn't go well? Could be what we estimated was actually wrong estimation. The research took more time than we thought. Something that's not going to work out for us, that didn't go well. We were looking for help from the instructor. He didn't show up or he didn't do it. That didn't well, you know. So what I meant by this is that your task is dependent on somebody else, but that team usually out in the industry is that you don't do all the tasks yourself. You're kind of dependent on somebody else also. They didn't come through, or they had your task in a low priority, so that kind of didn't go well. You were not able to complete your task. That's why you have to move it to the next one. So things like that, what didn't go well. Okay. The next one is kudos. You appreciate your team members. You call out somebody who went beyond or you did something good that kind of helped the team to go forward. So that's what come under kudos. You mention people names or team as a whole or whatever you feel like. Okay. So you give kudos to the team. Last one, very important, improvements. Now you look back all these three things, especially what didn't go well, then you come up with a plan. You say, okay, you know, what improvement can I do? What didn't work out? How can we do better that in the next 5 days, you know, we can accomplish these tasks? All right. So this is kind of like the game plan that goes, and this is called the retrospective or retro meeting, right? Again, all these three, these happen in all the companies I've worked with that follow the methodology Kanban or Agile or Scrum. Everybody does this. It's kind of very, very popular, and almost any place you go and work in IT, chances are, I would say 95% they are having these ceremonies and they're working in this methodology, right? Rarely you will see like a different one, somebody who's still doing some old school work. But in today's world, a lot of people have moved on to this strategy, and you will see these words floating around companies today. Right? If the company is not on that, they are moving. They have a goal to move towards it. Right? And you can see the benefits. You know, especially the demo part. I don't think any business would be not happy of having demos or being included. There's a lot of previously what the complaint used to be that, you know, IT doesn't involve us, they don't tell us what they're doing, just take the requirements, go off for a year, then come back later on and then show it. And that's not what we asked for. So, you know, to decrease that gap, these are the kind of the things that people have come out and thought of and helping the industry out. Okay. Any questions? Kind of try to think how you can apply all of these within your project. You know, these are kind of nice to have, and this will kind of prepare you when you go out there in the industry. And if you can accomplish this in this project, and don't think that, you know, this is a small project or a big project, I can't really do this. I've heard those excuses. I have made those excuses, and, you know, every time I've been proven wrong. These things can be applied somehow. You know, as I said, you can't do 2 weeks, obviously, because that's the whole project. But you proportionally, you say, oh, 15 days, I could do 5, 5, 5, or 3, 3, 3, 5 times, whatever it is. You can make it work somehow. All right. Any questions? Let me know if you have questions that you are like, well, it's not going to work for our team or our project, and we can sit together and kind of discuss that. And I would love to discuss and share some ideas how we can make it possible. All right. All right. So the next until 9:30, I would like to give it back to you guys. Go ahead and discuss your project plan and all that stuff. We'll do that until 9:30. All right. Give me a minute. Let me see if I. Okay, I'm going to.